Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. And as always, I'm your host, the Game Master. And today we're talking about Giganta. But before we get into that, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell for notifications, and as always, be sure to leave us a comment as that really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. With all that said, let's dive into this extremely short adventure. The prologue to today's story takes place in 1944 when there are two Native American men walking through the forest. One is an old man who is a tribal elder of the Apache tribe. And then there's a young man whose name is Long Shadow, and he's actually training to one day become their leader. So as they're walking along, they see some animal tracks, and the old man asks the young man what sort of animal leaves tracks like these. Long Shadow says, "That's easy. It's from a grizzly bear." The old man says, "You're learning quickly. You're honest, and you have good judgment. One day you're going to make an excellent leader." Just then, the two of them hear a roar, and it's the grizzly bear. He moves towards them, and Long Shadow asks what they should do. So the old man hands him this small leather pouch containing an ancient powder. The old man says that just a sprinkle of this stuff will enable Long Shadow to handle this grizzly bear without the need for weapons. So Long Shadow sprinkles a little bit on himself and he grows until he's 50 feet tall. And then he just picks up the bear as if it were a kitten and sets it out of the way. Meanwhile, a woman named Doris Zool is horseback riding in the area, sees this whole thing, steals the powder, uses it on herself, and she grows to be 50 feet tall. She surprise attacks Long Shadow and wins. So then we get into the main plot of today's game. Wonder Woman is at a local zoo where a scientist is giving a lecture on the theory of evolution. As they're talking, they see Giganta, the 50-foot woman, walking in the distance. So Wonder Woman excuses herself and flies over to where Giganta is. Giganta hits Wonder Woman, rolling a 3 and a 6, um, which doesn't do her any good at all. Wonder Woman goes, rolling a 4 and a 9, which is a hit, and Giganta takes 28 points of damage in a single shot and is knocked out. When she's knocked out, by the way, she shrinks back down to her normal height. Um, Wonder Woman then takes her to Paradise Island, where the Amazons try to reform her. And we've seen her do that with a handful of her other female villains. So that was it. Then we get to the epilogue. I was going to do this one later, but because this game was so ridiculously short, I didn't want you guys to feel cheated. So, Giganta spends several years on Paradise Island, where the Amazons kind of reform her. By 1958, Giganta returns to America. She's got a nice little house with like a small front yard and a white picket fence. It's nice. She's trying to put her life together. And on a Friday night, she has a date with Superman Red, who at this point, by the way, is going by the name John Redbridge. When he gets to her house, she's not there. She doesn't answer the door. So he has a look around. There's signs of a struggle. Um, he uses his microscopic vision, and what he finds are gorilla hairs. So he looks even closer at the molecules that comprise these hairs, and these are not from normal gorillas. These are from Gorilla City, home of Gorilla Grodd. So Superman Red flies to Gorilla City, which is a place in Africa populated by intelligent gorillas. While here, he meets with King Salavar, who is weirdly hostile towards Superman Red. In fact, every gorilla here insults him every chance they get. The whole time they keep calling him inferior and stuff like that. They refer to themselves as superior. The whole thing kind of reminded me of 1940s Germany, honestly. Uh, at any rate, So Superman Red is tempted to just throw their entire city into the sun, but he restrains his more base urges, you know. And outside of the settlement, there is a tower being constructed. And atop this structure, he finds Giganta, and she'd been kidnapped by Gorilla Grodd. The tower is a bit like the Arecibo Observatory in terms of its shape. And so Superman Red asks Grodd what this place is for. Like, is this, giant satellite dish like part of some kind of a death ray or something? Or, what's up? So Grodd explains that while it is a projector and it will fire a ray, it's actually designed to turn humans into gorillas. Superman Red thinks that sounds pretty lame. Um, Grodd has a lab here and was just getting ready to whip up a serum that would turn Giganta into a gorilla. And since Superman Red wasn't impressed by his monkey business, Grodd decides to pick up a 50-gallon drum full of these laboratory chemicals and throw it at Superman Red, which is Grodd's dexterity of 10 versus Superman Red's dexterity of 26. So Grodd needs a 28 or better to hit, which does not happen. He misses his target, and the barrel just explodes when it hits the wall behind him because Grodd, strangely enough, has a strength of 38 APs, which is just absolutely bananas. Anyways, it's Superman Red's turn, so Big Red punches Grodd, and it's Red's strength of 50 versus Grodd's body of 20. So Grodd takes 28 points of damage and is knocked out. Superman Red wakes Giganta up, and they go on their date after all. The epilogue, by the way, was a game that James Porch ran. And it wasn't until the end of that adventure that I realized the entire thing was an elaborate Donkey Kong joke. That's why the place was under construction. That's why he's throwing barrels, kidnapped a girl. They're at the top of the thing. Yeah. Not really my thing, but every time I tell other people about it, they seem to be entertained. So hopefully you too are entertained by this one. If so, as always, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell for notifications, and as always, leave us a comment because that really helps us out. From everyone here, the longest running superhero RPG on Earth, we hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you in the next adventure.